Chicken coops are one of, if not the most important things that a chicken needs, because it'll help them go to sleep knowing that they'll be safe overnight and no weird thing is going to try to break into that coop at 3 o'clock in the morning. But you could either buy one or you could build one yourself, and mobile ones are the best ones, and I'm going to show you how to build one today. I mean, you could just buy one, but it absolutely nerfs the amount of authenticity that you can find in a chicken coop. So let me begin. This will be going completely based on an old video I made back in 2022, so I might be featuring clips from that video, so if my voice sounds different, that's why. Now, of course, if we want to move this mobile chicken coop, get it to move at least an inch, you don't want to have to pick it up. You want to be able to attach it to something like your car, your tractor, something like that. So you want to take this chicken coop. To build it, you need something to go off, like a base. We personally use this really old trailer that I'll explain about in the clip from the video I took. Or, of course, you could literally take the framing from like a wagon, or if you're extremely good with mechanics and know how to take a powdered car, you could use a car, but I think the framing on that one will be really rough. So if you're gonna do that, I wish you the best of luck, man, but I don't think you'll be able to succeed. You'll also need to do a whole lot of modifications with it, like reinstalling everything that needs to come with it, especially if it's a really old one. But if you just take it apart, if you just need to take apart some aspects of it, it shouldn't take you too long. Just learn how to use some of these equipment for your own safety, for the love of God, man. So let me show you the trailer that our coop operates on. Now this trailer, it came with our property since our property is pretty old. So right here is our trailer. It's kind of rusty, and this tire still needs to be repaired. I don't know what caused it to flatten. I guess we're gonna need to get a new one. So let me show you under the coop. So I'll talk about flooring in a minute, but this is the framing and stuff like that that goes under the coop. And yeah, there's framing. And then there's this part of the coop right here, which we use for storing stuff, such as the food basket, the end of the waterer goes right there, and that's a pretty simple setup. And this is, since this trailer was from like 1975, 1980 or something like that, we needed to, I don't remember what this thing was called, but we had to install this thing. So chances are, if you get a really old trailer, not like a brand new one, you're gonna need to reinstall this. So make sure that you have that stuff reinstalled. So for building this, you're definitely going to need a ton of materials, and you could probably get this for around a couple grand if you really are spending a whole lot of money. But the main ones you're going to need are T111 siding, some insulation, some ventilation, because you don't want to have the birds out and you want to have proper ventilation. The insulation to keep them cool during the summer. Contrary to what I used to say, I used to say that it was for keeping them warm in the winter, but I was I did not understand the purpose of that. I do not know why. You also need windows for obvious reasons, and hurricane ties. If you don't know what they are, they're you put it right at the roof, so that way if you get a strong storm and it rips off the roof, normally it'll help it keep it more secured. And a ton of 2x4s. Of course, that's literally the signature type of wood for construction. Metal roofing, of course. Weather protection for the roof. Like you lay out the plywood on top of the roof, then you put weather protection over it, then you put the metal roof. And whiteboard. It'll help you a whole lot when you're constructing it. And it'll help protect a whole lot of different things, including the foam and insulation. Alright, so here are the plans I made in 5 minutes. Didn't take me too long, so not a lot of detail here. This is just my roof layout. This is some other stuff here, and this is the plan. Yours is probably going to be a lot more elaborate than that. But just remember, this does not include the trailer plans because, well... Alright, so flooring is one of the harder parts of this, but you'll eventually get through it and you'll get used to it. So, you want to make sure the 2x4s that you're laying out for the floor are attached to the trailer at all costs, or else watch what happens when you get a 20-mile-an-hour wind gust that goes through your area. It's just gonna blow away, and it's gonna be gone completely. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want all your hard work to go to waste, right? So you want to frame it the right way. You're obviously gonna need to have a lot of different tools and stuff like that I didn't mention. If you want, I can make a video going completely in depth, but I can't really do a video essay on it because it's really tedious. But you also want to when you're actually putting down the floor, before you add on the walls, you don't want to add the actual floor. I'll go over the walls in just a minute, but you don't want to add the actual you you don't want to lay down the piece of plywood until you've completely framed in everything. I think, right? Oh, come on. No, I was wrong. You want to add the floor, and then you can add the walls. Just remember to measure properly, or else you are going to completely mess this up. You don't want to do that now, do you? Alright, so below this, here, let me clear off some stuff for you. So right here, you'll notice that there is some flooring, and basically we painted it white for good measures, but what we ended up doing was we ended up reusing some of this old flooring that we used during a construction project back in 2011. We ended up clearing some of that stuff out, and we still had some left, so we cleaned it out, and then basically what we did was we just reused it, put it as a floor, and then put some shavings over top. Now this one's gonna require me to zoom in because I'm not going in that yard. Alright, so right here, and this is one of my chickens right here named Hey Hey, so hopefully if I can be able to put this thing under there at a correct thing, you'll be able to see that there are some metal flooring, since you can see right through that. And the reason is that way we can help get some of the chicken crap out of the coop in a pretty efficient way. And my rooster's now there, so I'm gonna have to head out. Yes, it is now time to lay out the wall. So you got the floor down, you got everything there done. Now all you got to do is build the wall and the framing for the roof, which we'll get into in just a minute. But we got to cover the wall first. So what you want to do is you want to start by obviously creating the wall, and you want to add trusses. I think they're not called trusses. Wow, I'm an idiot. But like you want to add those like you want to build the shape. And then you want to like add those beams in between each of them at an equal length, equal space between each of them. I know I'm explaining this in like horrible terms, but hopefully you can get what I'm trying to say here. And then if you're gonna add a window in that area, you want to shape it. You want to shape the trusses and the layout and stuff like that, so that way it can fit the window into it. If you know a little bit of woodworking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is all for support on the wall. Now that you've done that, you want to cover the entire area with T111 siding and repeat for each side. You want to cover that all with T111 siding, and then you want to trim the T111 siding so that way you can get the perfect length. So you want to then trim it and cut out the window area, and then once that's all done, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're then going to want to add some of that foam on the walls on the inside, and then cover it up with some whiteboard or just some like normal plywood that you can paint or whatever. And then for the roof, we'll get into that in just a minute, but let me show you a clip from the video. Alright, so I got my tape measure, and we're going to do some measuring here. So basically, we're going to first take a look at the framing of this door. So behind this wall of T111 and other stuff right here, this stuff and foam that's in between it, you're going to have framing. So to be able to put this in, you're going to need to measure the size. So this door we actually made by ourselves, but if you want to go the simpler way and just buy one from the store, you need to do that. So this door is approximately, oh come on, you're serious right now, are you? So this door, let me put this thing up here, this is a 2-person job, and I'm doing it just by myself, so that is my own problem. This door is approximately 62¼ inches tall. So alright, so now we're on to roofing. Now this is where things get really interesting. This is where you might want to get someone to help you if you don't know what to do for roofing. So you're going to want to begin by laying out the trusses for the roof. And it's always going to be triangular, so when you're sitting in your geometry class in high school and you're like, when will I ever use this? Well, now's a good time to remember that information. If you don't, just look up some math tutorials, because I'm not your personal math teacher over here, bro. I'm just trying to teach you how to build a chicken coop. So you're going to need all these different things to be able to put this all into perspective, to measure the angles and stuff like that, to get the correct angle for each of these trusses. So I'm not going to go into depth with all this stuff. Like, you should pretty much know all the stuff you're going to need for this. And then you're going to want to begin to like and you want to cover up the plywood. You want to cover out the outsides with plywood. And then this is where the weather secure thing, I don't know what the hell it was called. You put it over that, and then you put on that metal roofing, right on top. It requires some really special screws, or else it will not screw in properly. It'll just blow away, or just won't even screw in. And you want to make sure you're being safe with this one, because it's metal. It'll make a lot of sparks, so be really safe with this one, for the love of God, man. Alright, so here's our roof, and, well, I can't stand on anything, so I'm gonna have to really lean up to show you this. So we have metal roofing up here, and then underneath this metal roofing is a layer of weatherproof, I think it is. And then below that you have the plywood that we used to cover up the roof rafters. And then below that are the roof rafters. And here's what roof rafter floor framing looks like. And if you notice, there's foam on this side but nothing on the other side. It's because the chickens love foam, so make sure to box that off. And I'll show you some of that later. And then we also have some electrical in here. Let me talk about that real quick, even though that has nothing to do with this. Alright, now there are a ton of additional add-ons you can add to your chicken coop that will kind of benefit you in a sort of way. I didn't go over everything in this video, but like, let's just say you got everything done. Now all you gotta do is add some add-ons. This is a completely optional part. But I'd recommend watching this just in case any of this interests you. Electricity. I would definitely get a professional to do this, but if you know your electrical and you know how to work with electricity, then it would be definitely something to consider, especially in the winter. Because if you're from the Northeast like me, and you don't get disappointing winters, unlike me, then you will most definitely end up having to, like, operate some, like, heated waterers or stuff like that. So you want to add electricity. There's a lot of other things, like automatic coop doors like we have. Those are really helpful. And, of course, one of the greatest, and I mean greatest add-ons you could add to your chicken coop, of course, it's got to be a ramp. Yeah, of course. For the automatic coop door, you gotta add that ramp. It could be either built in or just something you just put there. It's something, I don't know, something to consider.